Hello. And welcome to CatavanCast, Van Life with a Cat. It's the show where we discuss our experiences travelling through the many countries of Europe in a campervan. I'm Ben.
I'm Frey. And Dargo's once again on the front seat, potentially sleeping.
She is sleeping, keeping cool.
Keeping cool.
Because it's still...
On this warm night.
It's a warm night. We're in the south of Greece again.
Still.
And it's rather warm. And today we are going to be talking about Sweden. And this is the juicy one.
Yes.
This is where our trip took a bit of a
turn. Note we are at this point about 3 weeks into the trip.
Yes.
Yes. Quite early on.
Yes.
As novice travellers.
If we were particularly religious, we may have seen it as a sign to turn back and go home.
As an omen.
But we didn't. Or maybe if we were sensible, we'd have just turned back and gone home.
But we're not that either.
We'll get to that. We'll start off with the good things first, the good parts of the trip. But, of course, as usual, we start with the legal and recommended tips and tricks.
Yes.
Driving instructions of the country. So, first and foremost, no matter what age you're allowed to drive at in your home country, if you are driving in Sweden, you must be 18. At all times, you must carry, in your vehicle, you must carry your valid driving license, your insurance green card or other proof of insurance, your passport, and your vehicle registration documents. Obviously, as with all right side of the road driving cars, countries. Sorry, right. I've really just confused myself because right-hand drive vehicles drive on the left. Because this is a right-hand drive. Yes. So if you're in a right-hand drive vehicle, you must have headlight deflectors on. As with all left driving, whatever. If you're in a British vehicle, you need deflector lights on.
Yes.
Or any right-hand drive vehicle, you need deflectors on your headlights. You also, while driving in Sweden, no matter what time of day, no matter what time of year, must have your dipped headlights on.
Yes.
Yes.
That's partly the reason why Volvo pioneered the daylight running.
Yeah.
Yes. Like there might be a lot of Volvo and car safety facts in this episode. I'm gonna warn people now.
That's fine.
It's my thing.
That's your thing, yeah. Warning triangles must be carried.
Yes.
Of course, if you've bought your European travel kit, you will already have that. Worth mentioning for anyone dipping in just to this episode. If you're driving through Europe, you can buy for about £20 or £30 off the internet a European driving kit. It has all sorts of stuff: breathalyzers, warning triangles, high-vis jackets. But in Sweden, you are only required to have a warning triangle. That's the only legal requirement.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because they're quite hot on their safety.
Yeah.
They recommend high-vis, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Also, motorcyclists and passengers must wear helmets. That includes anybody in a sidecar, which is interesting.
Yeah.
On all roads, vehicles must give way to the right unless the road is signposted as a primary road, and vehicles currently on the roundabout always have right of way.
Okay.
Which I was surprised to know isn't
the case.
An international rule. Yeah.
No.
So some countries it's a toss up between sometimes they do have right of way, sometimes people joining have right of way.
Yeah.
But in Sweden, if you're on the roundabout, you have right of way. Towing. This is an interesting one. So if you're going in a caravan, there are restrictions on caravans. There are no height limits. I imagine that's within reason. You
can't have a 50-meter tall caravan.
Yeah. But there could be no more than 6.2 meters wide, and
is that correct, Benjamin?
What did I just say?
6.2 meters.
I meant 2.6.
That's quite wide.
I read
wider than most roads.
I read that backwards. Apparently, I've gone all Eastern with my reading methods.
Okay.
And your vehicle and trailer/caravan must be no longer than 24 meters combined. There you go.
That's still quite long.
That's quite long, yeah. I think if you've got something longer than that, just I don't know, buy a house or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, because Moya is about 6.5 meters long.
yeah.
So 24.
So that's like, because sometimes the big camper vans still have trailers, don't they? For like
Yeah,
a
true.
car in the back or bikes in the back, something like that. But yeah,
That's crazy.
your vehicle and whatever you're towing must be a combined length of no longer than 24 meters.
Yeah.
Winter tyres.
Oh,
We're in
yes,
Northern Europe
those
now.
Things.
Sweden doesn't have hard and fast rules though, like other countries, which makes
Okay.
it complicated. But between December the 1st and March the 31st, all vehicles, which includes trailers and caravans, must use winter tyres, and they're marked with an M+S,
Yes.
which is not Marks and Spencer.
Nope.
I don't know what it stands for.
Modern snow.
Mud and snow. There you go. That's why you're here. Thank you very much.
Technically, it's German, and quite a lot of the tyres have the German words for mud and snow. Can't remember what mud is, but snow is Schnee.
Schnee.
So it's usually M word plus
Yes.
Schnee.
Yeah.
Or just M&S.
There's M&S. There's not just tyres.
No,
They're M&S tyres.
they're M&S tyres.
And the tyres can be with or without spikes, as long as they're for mud and snow. But interestingly, it's not that you have to have these tyres just fitted between those dates. It's if it's between those dates and there are winter road conditions.
I see.
So this means if there is snow or ice on the roads, or if it's been raining and the temperature is around or below freezing.
Okay.
So I don't agree with that, as there's a few countries like that, aren't there? Where
there
it's sort
are,
of, it
but
depends what kind of day it is.
But I think the vast majority of people who live there, as
Yeah.
soon as it's getting close to that time, they'll just swap to winter tyres.
Yeah, but for people like ourselves,
Yeah.
driving through, like if it happens to be a particularly balmy December,
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah.
But you know that's the way it is. Snow chains may be used though, but only when conditions require it.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's not on motorways, things like that. Although you can't really drive that fast on snow chains, can you?
No, I think there's a
Um,
max
Yeah.
speed limit for that.
Also,
Usually.
going into the more stuff to do with cold weather, drivers are required to have some antifreeze in their windscreen washer fluid and a shovel to clear snow.
Okay.
You know, it gets cold up there. It
Yeah.
is recommended, but not required, to have a tow rope, jump leads, and a high-vis vest. The high-vis vest
Is
recommendation surprises me.
All year? Or just winter?
I'd say, well, it depends where you're going in. You know, it's Sweden. It's snowing all the time in some places.
Okay.
Up in the north. It didn't specify whether this is all taken off the RAC website, by the
I
way.
see.
As we've already been
Blame
told.
them.
Yes. Well, as we've already been corrected on some of this on one of the other from the Netherlands, their information's out of date. So this is just what I'm reading from on there. I assume that's. I mean, it's always a good idea to have tow rope and
Yeah,
jump
just
leads.
if you're doing a world trip, just have it.
Not even a world trip. Like if you're driving across several countries.
No, but that's what I mean.
Get a
Like
tow
if you're
rope, yeah.
touring, just have it.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need it at some
Yeah.
point.
Interestingly, unlike many other countries which have, built up areas of 50 kilometers an hour, others at 80, things like
Yeah.
that, there are no all-encompassing rules, speed limits rather, for the roads in Sweden.
Oh, okay.
It's all on a road-by-road basis.
Yeah.
They look at the roads. Sometimes certain stretches of the same road will have different speed limits.
Interesting.
Just for safety. I remember Sweden was I think that's the first country where there's some. They have a speed limit, but then the state of the roads, I think, did then drop for like an S-bend or something on a mountain, but they put so many big barriers up in the way that you would not be able to speed through that without crashing. Or you might see it as a challenge, I'm not sure. But yeah, they are very clearly marked. There'll be a speed limit sign either side of the road when it changes, and there are reminder signs at frequent intervals. But there's no sort of general rule for speed limits.
Cool.
Also, interesting, I don't remember seeing any of these signs. But if you see a circular sign with a red St Andrew's cross on a blue background surrounded by a red border, this prohibits stopping and or parking. Yeah? So I don't remember seeing this.
What's the St Andrew's cross?
I think it's the Scottish flag.
Okay. So just a cross.
Yeah, but not like a red cross, which is the plus.
I see. Okay.
A red St Andrew's cross on a blue background with a red border. It's a circular sign. That means no stopping or parking. Breaching.
Hang on. No, sorry.
What?
I'm going to stop you there.
This is just what it says on the website.
A circular sign.
Circular sign.
Red border.
Yep.
Red St Andrew's cross.
Yep.
With a blue background.
Yeah.
That's a normal.
Oh, they're everywhere, aren't
sign. Yeah.
Why
is that written so complicated?
Why is it? Yeah, I never even thought of that.
That's just normal no stopping sign.
It's late. We record these at night because we have to be in the van with everything shut to keep outside noise to a minimum, and it's warm, and I'm tired.
It's okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So no stopping. That's the only time I've seen that's ever been described in any of these
like
pages.
That. That's why you really confused me.
Okay. Yeah. That's. Thank you for that. Anyway.
That's okay.
So yeah, normal no stopping signs are also in Sweden. Good lord. But breaching those parking rules can result in a fine between 400 and 1,000 Swedish krona.
Cool.
They don't use euros. They have their own krona, which is different to Danish and is it Norwegian krona as well? Do the Norwegians use krona?
I think so.
Yeah, it's different to other krona out there.
Yes. Different krona.
Yes. Sweden also have some of the strictest drink driving laws. We don't normally go into drink driving amounts because you should not be drink driving, you idiot. But
just don't do it.
Just don't do it. Why would you? In this day and age, come on. But anything above 0.02% risks a heavy fine and up to 6 months in prison.
Wow, okay.
And foreigners will have their license stamped with not valid in Sweden for a period dependent on the severity of the case. Drunk tests are carried out at random. You can just be stopped, even without any suspectable reason.
Yeah.
You could be driving absolutely fine. Driver might just, maybe because you're in a foreign vehicle, whatever.
Just like a spot check.
Yeah, they'll stop you. You must submit to them.
Yeah.
If you do not submit to them, they assume you've been drinking and will carry you away somewhere. It's usually just a breathalyzer test. And just as a side note, LPG is available in Sweden, but it was less so than in other countries, we found.
Yes.
That's the one we had trouble. We ended up, there's quite a few independent sellers.
Yes.
There is a website, it's called mylpg.eu, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a very good and dependable website. It's difficult, you have to know where you are on a map because you can't search. You can't type in an area and search for it. But
it is a fantastic site.
You zoom in on where you are on a map, it will show you where the nearest LPG stations are, and other users can log in and confirm that they do have LPG.
Yeah, and sometimes the cost as well.
Sometimes the cost, when the last person was there to confirm it.
Yeah.
Because do not use Google Maps to find LPG stations.
No.
They will just take you to the nearest petrol station.
Yeah.
And this is how we found these places. A lot of the petrol stations in Sweden did not have LPG. We ended up using these independent chaps, and they're just guys on an industrial estate somewhere.
Yeah.
That just sell LPG, and I think they also do propane and other things for people that have those tanks they want to swap. So yeah, just that caught us out at one point. But yeah, it is there, just not at the petrol stations.
No.
It's not as we found it to not be as readily available as in other countries.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all the legal and very important before you visit Mumbo Jumbo. So now on to the meat of it. So we've kind of been looking forward to this one. Sweden was a mixed bag for us. So we got in. It was the 18th of October, something like that.
Yeah.
It was towards the end of the middle of October.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a confusing sentence. Also, we crossed over the bridge. It's been a week since we recorded the Denmark episode, so I've forgotten the name.
Östersund?
Yeah, Osrund.
Bridge? Yeah,
yes.
something like that.
Cost us about £45 to get over, which I believe at the moment, that's the really expensive one.
Yeah.
I think they've changed it. That may have something to do with the coronavirus. That's just my speculation.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sweden hasn't gone on any lockdown or anything. But that takes you into Malmo, which is right there.
Yes.
You cross over and you're right there. Now, we did get over there a bit later in the day.
Yeah, because we did the crossing, didn't we? We went from Copenhagen all the way there.
Yeah.
In one day, and we're not particularly good at getting up early. So.
No. It was a long old drive. Very good that the bridges are worth going over.
Yeah.
Well, not €200 or whatever it is, but when we went, it was worth the money. And we went into Malmo. So we went into Malmo again because we were doing this trip on a budget, quite a tight budget, and we're in like Western or Northern Europe.
Northern Europe. We knew that'd be the most expensive part anyway, so we're being super cautious.
Yeah, we started this trip going to the most expensive part of the continent.
Get that out the way.
And the coldest.
Yes.
As winter, crept ever closer to us. So we didn't go into any museums, we didn't go to any art galleries, we didn't eat out at any restaurants, although Burger King had an offer on at the time for chicken nuggets.
They did.
So we bought a lot of chicken nuggets.
That was a little cheeky indulgence.
Yeah. But we ended up parking. I don't think Malmo had a LEZ, low emission zone. But we were just...
I don't think it did, no.
No, but we found a car park. There's not many free spaces that had good reviews.
No. On
Park for Nights. But we found a paid car park. It's about a 20-minute walk from the town centre, which was a Q park. Which they're all over. They're in several countries.
Yeah.
I think mainly Scandinavia, or especially Scandinavia rather. Which annoyingly, they have pay machines there, but the pay machines are just a relic of a time long forgotten.
Yeah.
Because they just have instructions on how to download the app and pay through that. I'm not a big fan of that.
No.
But that's the way it's going now. Once you've got the Q Park app, you don't need to download it again, obviously, because you've got it. But the first time you have to do it, and it's better than having those phone-up services you have to use sometimes. And off the top of my head, unfortunately, and very unprofessionally, I can't remember how much it cost.
I think it was about £3 or £4.
It was a low enough cost, so we were happy enough to pay it.
Yeah.
Also, the weather was starting to turn a little, starting to get a little bit wet again.
Yes.
Which was a bit of a hangover from Copenhagen. After we got drenched out from that, we still hadn't dried our socks, so we didn't want to get too wet. But we took the walk. It was just one straight line, one straight road towards the town square.
Yes.
Or the city centre rather. And just it didn't take long before the buildings started to become quite impressive.
Yeah.
The architect. There's a lot of churches.
Lots of churches, but I remember two specific buildings on the way into the city centre.
Yeah.
On that walk, and they were Tudor-esque.
Yeah.
I think British people will understand that. So the kind of heavy timber framed.
Yes. Yeah.
But they weren't the same colours as British Tudor buildings. They weren't the white and black.
Yeah.
These were red, I think. Red or brown?
Yeah, they use more earthy colours for them.
Yeah.
Reds, browns, yellows, things like that.
And with pointier roofs.
Yes.
Which is cool.
You get more snow.
Yes.
Yes.
But no, that was cool. That was literally, I don't think we were even that far away from the van at that point. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. It starts here.
Yeah. It did not take long until there's still photo-worthy buildings. I think thinking about it now is quite interesting because you had those buildings which are obviously older, and then you get to the town centre. Sorry, I keep calling it a town. It's a city. Then you get to the city centre, which is very modern.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Plenty of bars, restaurants, cafes, things like that. That's one where there was a sculpture of was it a row of men playing instruments? It was a sculpture of a parade.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was just outside an old school apothecary.
Okay.
I think.
Yes, I think you're right. Yes.
And you look in the window, and they've literally got such a tall ceiling, and lots of shelves all the way up,
I remember,
and little jars and stuff like that.
Yes.
And if you go, there's a little alleyway next to it, and if you go in there, I think there's boards that give you information about it.
Yeah.
That I cannot remember now.
Yeah.
Which is because my memory is terrible. But
yes. Well, we also lost a lot of information on this place, which we'll get to at the end of towards the end of the episode. So then we went from there. I think the city hall was there as well. remember a great big bit on one end of the square.
I think so, yeah.
And then we walked across the square, or sort of away from the square a bit, through a little bit of the old town,
Mm-hmm.
which was just plenty of like pubs, restaurants,
Yeah,
pub
again,
restaurant sort
old
of
school
places. Yeah.
buildings and things.
Yeah, that same Tudor-esque.
Yeah.
There must be a proper
There has to be another word
term
for
for
it,
that.
yeah.
And then we ended up in the park, which is between the old town and the castle.
Yes, and that had the sculptures in it. A few sculptures, didn't it?
Yes, it's a very nice park. Loads of like really tall. Like on a sunny day, that'd be brilliant for shade.
Yeah.
Great big tall thing. Lots of running, not rivers, but water flow.
Yeah.
Through it.
Streams, maybe.
Yes, maybe. It was raining at the time, so there's water everywhere. Thank you.
Yes.
And then there was the castle.
Yeah, so that was over a river?
There was a moat.
No. We did have to cross a river,
Oh,
and
we
then
did,
there
yes.
was the moat.
Yes.
Yeah, so you cross a river, and then you get to a moat. There are information boards scattered around which tell you about wildlife. They tell you about what you're looking at.
Yep.
As in the castle.
Castle, yeah.
And you can walk round. You can actually go into the castle. There is a museum there.
Yeah, but they were closing as we got there.
They were closing as we got there.
Yeah. Brilliant
and
timing.
the cool thing I remember about that place is that in the windows that you can see, they've got some like cardboard cutouts and some lights inside, so it looks like there are people in there.
Oh yeah. Then they project things onto it for like I seem to remember reading about a Halloween event.
I think so.
And they project like ghouls,
Yeah.
ghosts, and they go in between the windows
Yeah.
and things. Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And I think at some point, because it's got very distinct round towers.
Yeah.
And I think at some point they were used to keep prisoners
Yes, that does ring a bell.
as well.
There was quite a history there,
There was.
which
yes.
would make for really interesting podcast material.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
But we can't
we'd
remember
got
it
there
all.
earlier.
Remember again you took photos of it, but then
Yeah.
it all got lost. Stay tuned for why. Got to keep dropping those breadcrumbs. Keep
At this point, they're not breadcrumbs, they'll have full mouthfuls.
Yeah, slices of pizza. But then it was, again, the rain was starting to pick up. Anywhere of interest was closed, or we weren't going to go in anyway, and it was starting to get dark. So we headed back. But another cool thing, we did stop at a couple of places, like on many streets, not just on the big roads, but some of the streets off from the squares and just off roads. You'd find yourself in little, I thought they're plazas.
Yeah.
Of shops and restaurants, and they all had their own sort of aesthetic, their own sort of vibe, to use a cliche term. But yeah, it just made for you sort of wander, you sort of look past, you catch a glimpse of it. Oh, what's down there? And you have a look, and it's wow, it's just a nice sort of thing to walk around in. But we settled for Burger King because they're cheap nuggets.
Well, we saw the deal on the way up, didn't we? Now I'm going to go on a little Burger King plug.
Yeah.
I do not like fast food that much. I will say this now.
Yep.
Right? Sweden was an exception.
Yes.
It was a massive exception.
Yes.
Ask anybody who knows me, and they will say that me, and especially mainstream fast food chains, they don't mix. I don't like them. But we saw a Burger King advert. Which was something like 18 nuggets for £3.
The equivalent of
Yeah, and we were hungry by this point. We'd been walking around a lot.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And we fancied it because it was miserable weather. You know, we'd explored Copenhagen, it was pouring out of rain. We come to Malmo, it's now raining.
Yeah, and then we had a bit of a drive to get out to where we were staying, so we just like, we'll get these nuggets, they'll be nice and hot.
Yeah.
And we'll just snack on them till we get to where we're going.
Yeah. Can you remember the exchange rate? Was it an easy one?
No,
I don't think it was, wasn't it? It was something like 12 krona to the pound or something.
No.
No?
No, it can't be.
Okay, well...
I don't think so.
If you talk about where we went that night.
Okay, so that night we went to a town called Lund, or in fact just a little bit outside of that. And there was a stop just outside a windmill. And when I say windmill, I don't mean the modern white 3 spiky ones. I mean an proper old school one, and it just seems to be there. I don't think anybody uses it. I don't think anybody comes there very often.
Yeah.
It's just on the side of a road,
yeah.
off a main road.
Because whenever I remember that,
yeah.
I keep thinking it was in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much like Zaanstad.
Exactly.
Those sort of windmills.
Yeah.
I just found out, I was about right. At the moment, a pound is 11.6 Swedish krona. So it probably was about 12. I think all the kronas were about the same. There wasn't much in them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know. Just a little tidbit there. Swedes use krona, and £1 gets you about 11.6 krona.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. Cool.
Well, the good thing about the windmill is it was behind a gate, but you could sort of walk up to it.
Yeah.
It was open to the public. I
Yeah.
remember we took Dargo around for a bit of a walk.
Yeah, Dargo went for a little walk there. And yeah, it's lit up at night, so that looks kind of cool. A little bit mysterious too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that morning we went to a town called Jakriborg.
Yes.
Which is very interesting.
Yes. Because
for me.
you told me about this one.
Yeah. As if you've been listening to the other ones, I often go on a little thing about architecture. It's a little settlement that's it's been made recently, inverted commas.
Yes.
By two brothers, and it's named after those two brothers. I think the brothers were Jack and something, so it's Jakriborg. And they've created this.
It's a medieval style town.
Yeah, so it's Scandinavian medieval buildings. So extremely pointy, tall buildings.
Yes.
With lots of windows, tight, narrow cobblestone streets. They've got ramparts around half of it at the moment. I think they're still building more.
Yes.
You've got little markets, as in like shops, around the outside. Then you had a little bakery and an ice cream parlour and a cafe. But they're all it's not modern at all. The style of it isn't modern.
Yeah.
And cars and vehicles for the residents there, they're kind of around the outside of the town. So you don't actually have that many vehicles inside, which is kind of nice because it keeps the illusion of it still being oldie-worldy.
So as much as possible, I mean, there is only so far you can go with that.
Yeah,
because you need a supermarket.
Yeah.
But it's been made to look like a medieval Scandinavian town.
Exactly, and I think that's so cool.
It was really cool. Thinking about it now, I suppose it was almost like walking through Rothenburg.
Yeah.
Except Rothenburg has kept that aesthetic for so many years, whereas Jakriborg has just created this.
Just created it, yeah.
And I think you were telling me if you want to live there, you have to sort of apply and be allowed to live there.
Yes, there's an application process to become a resident. And that's mainly because A, they don't want too many people.
Yep.
And B, because they want the right kind of person who'll appreciate the town and, keep it up and all that kind of stuff.
Don't want someone building a conservatory out the back of their house.
Exactly. So, yeah. So it's kind of cool. I like that place.
That was pretty cool. And then we carried on, because we were heading up to, essentially just going up to Norway.
Yeah.
And there is the one big road, the E6, I think you said it was?
Yes. Which
runs all the way up the eastern coast,
mm-hmm.
through some of the bigger cities. So we were heading up there on the way to Gothenburg, and we stopped for the night in a... See, this is a recurring issue for me with Sweden and a lot of Scandinavian countries. Was it a town?
I'm going to call it a hamlet.
A hamlet? Because all the buildings... Because there were leisure facilities, like tennis courts and things.
Yeah.
And there were houses, but they're all very spread out.
Yeah, Sweden's very spread out. They have a lot of landmass, not very many people.
Yeah, but it was called... Now, it's spelled Sarrow.
Yes.
But the A has an umlaut, and the O has an umlaut. And I distinctly remember when we got there, we were looking on videos of how to pronounce A's and O's with umlauts, and there's like, oh, well, it depends. There's about 5 different ways. And like, I'll just call it Sarrow then. And that was on a little car park, which was on the edge of some woods.
Yeah.
And it was only about a 5-minute walk through the woods. You could actually get to the coast.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
It was.
And also cold.
Very cold.
Because we're in Scandinavian beach.
Yeah.
But I remember that morning we took Dargo for a walk through the woods.
We did. I think, that was the first time that we'd taken her on that kind of a walk.
We'd obviously let her out, like you say, take it around the windmill.
Exactly.
A little sniff around, things like that.
But we went from the van to the beach with her, and then she led us all the way back.
Yes, she remembered the way back.
Exactly.
She's very good at following paths.
Yeah.
But she was still sort of she still wasn't used to going on walks at that point.
No. This was early on.
Because we kind of found our formation now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like you walk slightly behind her with the lead, and I have to walk in front.
Yeah.
And then she just sort of plods
in between,
and she stays on the path.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that. She on the way back, she's like, no, she knew the way.
Yeah.
Back.
That was so cool.
That was rather cool. And then we went off to see your mate. I'm going to say his name wrong. Radek.
Yes.
Who lives in? I've written it down.
Floda. Yes.
At his home.
Yes.
And was it like a typical Swedish home?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think so. Which was cool. Because we actually got to see inside a Swedish home.
Yeah, because Sweden's very big on its renewable energy, isn't it? Like they all have solar panels. All the new builds have solar panels.
Yeah.
Like underfloor heating is a thing.
Yeah.
For everybody. I remember his cellar just had a huge room with all the... Yeah, this is the, like...
The water heater control system.
Yes, this is the house environmental system. Because that's right, in Sweden, they count wood as a renewable energy source, don't they?
Yes.
Because they have so many trees.
Yeah.
That wood is classed as a renewable energy source.
Yeah.
Which is...
crazy.
Yeah.
And how we've ended up in the situation we're in now.
Yeah. But because the majority of their land is trees, isn't it?
Yeah. It's all woodland still.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Which is nice. But he also... Because he's not Swedish.
He's not.
No.
He's not. Radek and I worked together when I worked for Emerald in the automotive industry. Hence my knowledge of the automotive industry.
Yes.
And when I was there, he was in the process of moving to Volvo. He really wanted to work for Volvo.
'Cause he's Polish, isn't he?
He's Polish, yes. And yeah, so by the time we got to Sweden, he was there working for Volvo. So
yeah.
Like, excellent, we'll come meet you.
We'll come meet you. And he showed us a Swedish tradition, which I think, if I'm remembering it right, and if he hears this, please feel free to correct us. It was called fika.
Yeah.
And it's like black coffee and like sweet pastries.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether it's a specific
No. Fika's just a tradition to have a coffee break. That's just their name for it.
Oh, I thought it was something like on a Friday if someone has to bring in...
I think that's just what Volvo do, but it might be a thing.
Oh, so I'm getting this completely wrong.
No. Fika's just a tradition to have a coffee break, to just chill, sit, have a chat.
Okay.
And a coffee and maybe some of the traditional pastries.
I've just remembered, actually, because that's when he also told us that, a little bit to his chagrin, I think is the word, like, in Sweden, when something goes wrong, they're just like, oh, okay, that's gone wrong.
Yeah.
Like, no one gets angry about it.
They're far too chilled about it.
It's like, oh, you've just crashed the computer system. It's like, oh, well, that's going to slow us down for a bit then, isn't it? It's like, yes, but who did it? It's like, it doesn't matter, it's been done. Like, don't worry about it. I can see both sides of that.
Yeah. Well, no, because part of the reason behind him and I wanting to work for Volvo was that Swedes, they're efficient, they're clean, they work hard, they've got the whole work ethic down where, productivity is high and working hours are low and all this kind of stuff. Turns out that may not be the case.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
But that's just what that's just his word we had to take on that
yes,
one.
Exactly.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But no, that was very nice and lovely of him to invite us into our home.
Yeah, it was nice.
Especially because I'd never met the guy before.
Yeah.
So that was nice. And then we went to Gothenburg. But we'll come back to that because that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, we'll skip over that for now.
And we need to keep people listening. So after Gothenburg, we then carried on. We then went straight from just outside Gothenburg to Norway.
Yeah.
Which is all up the E6.
Yeah.
Now, we can't remember whether the tolls were on the Swedish side or the Norwegian side.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure there was a toll somewhere along the way.
Yeah, we just set our sat-nav to avoid toll roads.
Yeah.
And it took us off the E6, not too far, I don't think, from the Norwegian border.
It's just a non-motorway road that runs parallel to the E6, basically. Yeah.
Which, I think, even if you aren't bothered about paying for toll roads, like, the scenery was so much better.
Yeah.
My word, definitely do that.
Amazing roads. If you're doing this on motorbikes,
yes,
take that road.
Yes.
Like 100% take that road. Those roads were perfect.
I mean, that's just for Scandinavia. Most of Europe, really, in general. Just try not to use motorways unless you really need to get somewhere. But we'll tell you about how amazing those roads were next week when we do Norway.
Yes.
But then we were in Norway for a few days. Again, at this point in time, we did have the visa in Russia to worry about.
Yes.
It was keeping us moving. But we also had, we were meeting friends in Finland.
Mm-hmm. In Helsinki.
And we also had the winter tyre regulations.
To keep ahead
of, yeah. So we needed to stay ahead of those. Obviously in Sweden you have until the 1st of December, but, we needed to get a move on.
Yeah.
So we soon came back from Norway into Sweden, and the crossing we ended up at was fantastic. It was near Charlottenburg.
Yes.
And we thought it was the border, but the border's it was the border. I'm thinking of something completely different. Customs was a bit further on.
Yes.
I think, yes. But on the border itself is like it's almost like a visitor centre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you pull in and you can see the border. It's not painted on the floor.
No.
But there's a big gap in the trees.
Yeah.
So you can see this track, which is the border. And there's like a cafe in there. There's like a little, not really a museum, but there's information about the area there.
Yeah, there's like a little souvenir shop.
There was a petrol station that's where we got those crisps, which lasted for weeks. And they were fantastic.
Enormous bags of crisps.
And there were peace memorials there.
Yeah.
And information about it's a symbol of peace. God, I really wish I'd looked this up. It was something like, it was to mark the end of a lot of rivalry between Norway and Sweden.
Yeah.
And then there was also a freedom bell.
Yeah.
Of which there is a duplicate. I want to say Korea.
I think so.
Again,
it was an East Asian country.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not much video or photos because of what we'll get back to. We had trouble recording things and logging things, saving data.
Yes.
But yeah, there's another bell in, I think it's Korea or China or somewhere.
I think so.
Why
don't you carry on and I will quickly find out.
Okay, fine. I mean, we only stopped there because there was also a black water dumping area and there were showers.
Yes.
Now there were paid showers, but there was something like, it was like a crown for 5 minutes or something like that. I don't know, maybe a bit more, 10 crown maybe for 5 minutes.
It was £2 per minute.
Oh, there you go, £2 per minute. Which you can just go upstairs and ask for change off the lady, and she was more than happy. And she was telling us about, we'd already seen the memorials by the time we got to her.
Yeah.
But she was telling us all about it, giving us extra information. There was more information in the shop. I think the shop was all on the Swedish side. Well, no, sorry, the till was on the Swedish side.
Yeah.
But the shop was over on the Norwegian side, so you're just hopping between countries.
Yeah. Back and forth.
And then ended up, we went there just to, empty and fill up on water and have a bit of a wash. But we ended up spending a couple of hours there.
We did.
Just sort of looking around, saw the memorials, and the peace bell and things like that. It was just a really good spot with a shop that had, I think the shop was one, you could buy a can of Coke, but you could also buy a crate of Coke. Remember, it was like that. It was a bulk buying things, and these bags of crisps were same size as from my head to my waist. They were huge, these things, and they took ages to go off. We were eating them for weeks. It was obscene. And then after that, if you've watched any of our videos on YouTube, you'll have seen some footage. We did manage to save some footage from this place. We camped for the night at Lake Vänern. Vänern, I think. So my pronunciations of Scandinavian things are awful. Lake Vänern, and I'm trying to find the information I have on it here. Yes, Lake Vänern, which is the largest lake in the EU. There's even Norse myths
regarding that,
written about it.
Yeah.
It's the largest lake in the EU, and it's the third largest lake in continental Europe. Russia has the other two. But yeah, so it was a great big huge lake, and we stopped there, and we were just completely isolated there. So on the edge of a lake which is big enough to be a small sea.
Yeah.
And
it was amazing.
They had
little,
people had already built campfires there, surrounded by rocks, so we could just sort of get one started. The sun was going down at the opposite, where we were looking out onto the lake.
Yeah.
And it was just so far away from anything. All you could hear was just the lapping of the water. It was such a cliche van life place. It's just, in the woods with a little fire by the lake in the sunset, and we had the van out. We took Dargo out for a bit of a walk.
Yeah.
It was just after the trouble we'd had, which we'll get back to. That really, Sweden had our lowest point of the trip. Probably still to this point, that's the lowest point. But then that stop at Lake Vänern, whatever, was our high point at that point. We really needed it. It was a really good stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, we were off to Stockholm.
Yes.
Because we had a ferry to catch.
We did.
How are you getting on with your research?
I found it.
Yeah.
I found it. It's 100 years old at least.
Okay.
I'm just trying to... It's part of a whole park.
Oh, really?
Apparently, yeah. So the monument that was next to it?
Yeah.
That, the Freedom Bell, and a few other buildings around, it's part of a whole park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we missed that then. Good lord.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't think much of it was open, though. Ah, do you not remember there was, like, a little theatre-looking thing
I remember,
around the side, but it wasn't open.
No.
Or anything.
I think it was taped off, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So issues like that. But, yes, it's there.
Okay. Well, don't worry.
It's cool.
Don't worry about it then. So we went to Stockholm. Now, there is a low emission zone in Stockholm.
Yes.
Because, of course, it is.
Mm-hmm.
However, little tip we found. Obviously, our worry was security for the van.
Yep.
Which will all become clear at the end of the... I'm going to stop doing that now. We were worried about security of the van. And we had learned that the Stockholm University has a public paid car park.
Yep.
Which is regularly patrolled by staff and groundskeepers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're happy enough for people. Again, like with anywhere, like you're not on a campsite, so don't get your tables and chairs out.
No.
You're in a car park. If you're staying within the confines of your van and you're only taking up one parking space,
you're fine.
If you're a bit bigger than that, not be blocking anybody, you're fine. It was paid. It's one of these you go and get a ticket when you arrive, and then you take the ticket back to the machine.
Yeah.
When you leave. So we parked there, and the university has its own metro station.
Yeah.
So we jumped on there. No, we got there quite late in the day, because it was a long old drive.
Yeah. And
we'd stopped to have a shower and everything on the way. But we had a load of laundry to do.
Yes.
So we found a laundrette in Stockholm.
Yeah.
So we were just going in to get our laundry done, and then have a bit of a walk around, see what we want to go and see the next day.
Reconnaissance.
So we got our laundry done. I remember the woman was kind of like, well, I'm closing in a bit. I think she had like an hour before she was closing.
I think so.
And she's like, I'll dry it as best I can, but...
And we were just like, that's fine.
To be fair, I think she did even like stay open a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Just to help us out. And got it as dry. Well, they were dry, they was fine, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
they were fine.
And then we went for a bit of a wander around. I remember... I just remember this. I remember saw not the EA building, sorry, the DICE building. They're the people that make Battlefield.
Yeah.
And Battlefront. We don't talk about Battlefront. Yeah, there's actually a few video game developers based in Stockholm, but we only saw the DICE one.
Yeah.
And then we did walk a little bit through the old town, didn't we?
Yeah.
But we had trouble getting to the old town.
We're trying to follow Google Maps' walking directions.
Yeah.
It's like, take us from this island to the old town.
Because before we go, anyone who's not been to Stockholm.
Yes.
Stockholm is a city made up of several islands. In
14.
fact, 14 islands, and there are more than 50 bridges.
Yes.
And it's not flat.
No.
No. So we were very high up on one island.
Yes. And we could see where we needed to be on the other island.
Yes, which is
and
all
the
the way
bridge
down.
we needed to cross.
Yes.
So we're following Google Maps, and it takes us across the top of this island out to like a platform.
Yeah, there's like so that island, we were on top of a hill.
Yeah.
On which there were cafes, shops, theatres, all the rest of it. And then there's a great big hotel.
Yeah.
That starts off, because that's on the top of a very steep hill.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the hill is a hotel, which comes up to the same level.
Yeah.
And there's a bridge which connects the two.
Mm-hmm.
Which Google Maps saw as a viable route
to
get down the hill. And we went further than we should have done. We went into the hotel.
We did. Because we were just like, we've seen people coming this way. Maybe there is a public way through.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know. We're seeing people going. So we actually went into the hotel. We got as far as the restaurant.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, let's turn around and go back. I was just hesitant to walk back over that bridge.
Yeah, because you're not good with heights.
No.
And there was just construction work going on below us.
There was. It's just like, hang on. How does Google want me to do this?
Yeah. Well, luckily, it didn't. Yeah, there was some steps back on the other side of the.
Yes.
Back on the actual.
Yes.
Solid ground. So we took those down, and just had a quick walk through the old town.
Yeah.
Basically on the way back to the train station, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Because we had bags full of underwear on us, so we didn't want to walk around too much.
No.
I mention it now, I suppose, might as well, because we got two different metros. So we got obviously from university to one station.
Yeah.
But then we got back on at another station.
Yeah.
Most, I don't think all, but most of the metro stations in Stockholm are like the entire station is an art exhibition.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're made to be that way.
Yeah, they're all like. I mean, the one we went in, I think it was that first night. We spent 20 minutes just looking around the metro station.
The station
it was
being like, what?
I think that one they'd done it up to look like Roman or Greek ruins.
Yeah.
Or something. It's like telling a story of an old myth or something.
Was there not some water running through there as well?
There was. No, you meant that went beneath the walkway you walked in on. Yeah, so it's not just like paintings on the walls. This is like sculptures, water features, plant life. Like some of them tell stories. Some of them are. I think one of them was quite political.
I think so.
And there are tours, like guided tours, you can do.
Of the metro stations.
I spend a lot of money on metro station tickets, but
Speaking of metro station tickets, we should mention that.
Oh yes.
Because you get similar to the London system, where you get a card. You get a card here as well. You pay for the card. There's a price for the card. I don't think it's very high.
No.
But then we bought like a 24-hour ticket.
Yeah.
And because it was quite late in the day, that gave us the end of the first day and then a full day the second day to use it.
Yeah. I think it was quite late. It was about 7...
Yeah, it was dark.
6 or 7 p.m.
Yeah,
when
it was dark by the time we went on it.
We knew we had until then, the following
day,
day, to get back to our stop for the night, which is... I like those systems.
Yeah.
They're good.
They work quite well.
Yeah. So the next day, obviously we had to get to grips with all these islands and bridges and things. Now, I will note that at this point, Stockholm was my favourite city to explore.
It's still definitely up there, though.
Oh, definitely, yes. Yeah. Definitely still up there. But Stockholm was the first city we saw where, like, you'll see something in the distance.
Yeah.
You'll be like, let's go see what that is. That looks interesting. Let's go see. And then you get there, and sometimes even before you've got there, you can now see other buildings. So, let's go see that. And you can just spend all day
just hopping around,
jumping over islands and bridges, just hopping around the place. But the islands it's not a hard and fast rule.
No.
But to an extent, like you have one island, that's the old town.
Yeah.
You have another island, there's like all court buildings, legal buildings, things like that. Another one will have like banking buildings on it.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's not a hard and fast rule, but that's generally the sort of thing. So remember the first one we went to was written down Riddarholmen.
Yes.
Riddarholmen. Probably butchering that. And there was probably
straight away.
Probably umlauts on there, but I
don't think that one had any umlauts.
Oh, there you go, Riddarholmen. Yes. Let's just go with that then. That had the great big church on it. Where
it did, yes, where apparently several monarchs are buried.
Yes. And there was also several legal buildings on that one.
Yes.
But this was when we found out, because we got there, I can't remember what day it was, what day of the week it was, but it was the week before Sweden's half-term holidays.
Yeah.
So a lot of buildings were closed in preparation for being open all week for extended hours the following week.
Yeah.
So trust us.
To be there when everything's closed.
You know, everything's shut. It's sort of because this was at the end of October.
Yeah.
So this is sort of like almost like a sneak peek as our attempts at trying to get to a Christmas market.
Yeah.
Like we're missing everything. But then we crossed the bridge and ended up at City Hall.
Yes.
Which is that huge, like you walk through and there's that was free to explore around.
Yeah.
I don't think you could go. No, you couldn't go in City Hall.
No.
But you go in and there's a huge courtyard with a bell that goes off.
Yeah.
To the top, and then there were the grounds with all the fountains around the back.
Yeah.
Which are also on the river. If you like riverside walks, Stockholm's a place to go.
Stockholm's a place to do.
And
that also on the corner of that, near that giant plinth.
Yes.
And the column.
Yeah.
There's that fountain with the lion faces.
Yes.
And the flowers growing over it, which I loved.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a cool building.
Yeah, it really was. And then we went a little bit further up onto that bit of land.
Yeah.
To that church, which was Kungsholmen Church.
Yes.
Which was the first church we've been in. I remember it was sort of like, it was surrounded by a fence. It had its own grounds. It was kind of like sectioned off from everything else. It was on top of a hill. But that was the first church we've been in where it's like, I mean, they're all active, quote, active churches.
Yeah.
But there was no music playing.
No.
And we were very aware of any noise we were making.
Yeah.
With your squeaky shoes.
With my super squeaky shoes. It's not a touristy church.
No. But still quite an impressive church.
Incredibly impressive church.
I specifically remember we sat there and were whispering very quietly to each other
about
whether that was actual fabric hanging off one of the decorations or whether it was carved.
Behind the lectern.
Yes.
It was a wooden lectern and with a yellow backdrop.
Yeah.
And we were trying to decide whether it was wood or fabric.
Yeah.
And I think it was wood.
Yeah, I think it was. Well, wood or stone? Or...
No, it was wood.
Wood.
The entire thing was wood, I remember.
Okay. But yeah, obviously because there's no one moving around in there, there's no wind or anything, so even if it was fabric, it wouldn't move. It's sort of there, like, it looks like fabric. Surely it'd move a little bit. Surely. Yeah, but I did feel a bit uneasy in there because there were people in there praying.
Yeah,
and
you don't want to disturb and you don't want to be disrespectful.
Exactly, so you kind of... we didn't take any photos or anything because, people are... this is people's sanctuary, it's their place of worship.
Yeah.
We don't want to be dickhead tourists in the... Can I say that?
I thought we weren't swearing.
That's not swearing, it's playful banter.
Oh dear.
So then we crossed back over onto the main, I suppose, island, or one of them, into the more modern part of the city, where there's just loads of... It's just a city centre. It's a European city centre.
Yeah, lots of shops, restaurants, things like that.
We ended up cutting through one. It looks like just a normal shopping centre.
Yeah, I think it's called like the Galleria or something.
But then you realise it's all food.
Yeah.
There's no clothes shops.
Nope.
No perfume shops. None of that. No gadgets. It's just food. It's basically... I think the ground floor as well was kind of like one of these... Like in the Netherlands, it's like for street food.
Yeah.
But now they're indoors.
Yeah.
Which brings me, like, makes me ask the question, is it street food if they now have...
Cover?
Like, they have their own plot in a building?
I don't know.
At what point does it stop being street food? What's the definition of street food?
The origin of it?
Well, surely that's all food then. Everybody's house is on a street.
No, that's not what that means. No.
No? Okay, fair enough. Not that then. No. But I just think if you're not on a cart on a street, if you're in a shopping centre with like mains electricity built in and permanently fixed ovens, I'd say that's not street food.
But street food is a type of food. It's not where it's served.
Yeah, but McDonald's isn't street food. That's burgers and chips.
Yeah, that's fast food.
So street food. You get it pretty quick. We should start up a street food. We should start up a debate podcast. afterwards. No,
this
okay.
is not a debate.
We will move on though.
Please.
Because I will stand my ground on it. No. So we walked through the, we'll just leave it at food shop area. Yes. And we ended up, I'm going to get this wrong again, because now I can't even find where it is on the list. Kungstrad Garden, I'm going to say.
Yes.
Kungstrad Garden. Where this is a big public garden, there was great big sculptures. The fountains weren't on though, I remember.
No, they weren't, were they?
I think just the time of year. Again, Europe in winter.
Was that the garden where there were, I'm trying to remember, maybe rabbit sculptures?
Yes.
Statues? Is
yes.
that right?
Yeah, I think you're right, yeah.
It just came to my head.
There were some smaller statues sort of scattered around.
Yeah.
Loads of park benches, little walks, things like that. Yeah. It wasn't a covered, not covered, it wasn't a secluded, shall we say, park.
Yeah. Like,
lining the park were restaurants and bars.
Yeah.
Like TGI Fridays and stuff like that. And there was also a big concrete square. Yes. Where they were setting up for something.
They were.
Not a Christmas market, it's too early.
No. It was like a concert or something like that, because there was a big stage, I think.
Yeah. Which is something else we missed.
Yeah.
And there was a great big water fountain, but the fountain was off.
Yeah.
We only knew it was a water fountain because you could see the spout. Yeah. And then we ended up down by the river again, opposite the Royal Palace.
Yes.
Which we had walked past the night before, complete with royal guards. Although one of them was checking his phone as we walked past. Would not fly at Buckingham Palace, I'm afraid. The Queen would have a fit. Well, the other thing, she has fits.
I hope not.
Sets the corgis on them.
Yes.
Or the Swedish royal equivalent dog. So we're down by the... Because there was loads of ferries you could get from there, wasn't there? The ferry tours.
Yes.
Remember they were lined up. Oh, that's where we got the really cheap hot dogs as well.
It was.
It was like 10 kroner or something.
Yeah.
It was ridiculously cheap for these. I mean, they were little hot dogs.
They were tiny,
but we could have gone back and had 4 of them for the price. It was, just a nice little...
It did a little snack.
Because Stockholm is not a cheap city.
No.
But that was especially cheap.
It was.
So you had all the ferry boats sort of lined up all along this. I suppose technically it's a marina then.
Yeah.
At that point. But then right down the far end was like this huge galleon-looking thing.
Yeah, with sails and everything.
Yeah. So we started heading... Excuse me, throat's going. So we started heading towards that. I think when we got there, it turns out it was a restaurant.
Yeah.
But by this point, we're on another island, because you can't go that far in Stockholm without
getting
moving to another island. And that one was like the artsy island.
Yes, it had sculptures everywhere.
Yeah, there was just that park in the middle. It was
in the middle.
I remember it was a steep hill.
Yeah. And
then there was like a kid's park, just sort of, a road goes around it and it's fenced off, and I think there was some play equipment.
Yeah. And
there were like these weird animal sculptures. Again, not a lot of the footage. We couldn't save a lot of the footage from this. There was a whole thing which we'll get to. So we can't go back and look at it.
No.
But yeah, I remember these odd sculptures, and then there was the art gallery. There were also some pillboxes from the war, I remember. You could get right up. They were just off the main pavement. But people use them as bins now, because that's what people are like.
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, so we didn't go in any of the museums. We kind of wanted to go further to the big theme park, but we realised just how far away that was.
Yeah.
I thought, no, we'll leave, and we weren't going to go in anyway.
No.
Because we couldn't afford it. So then we headed back to the old town, which is on... The island is called... Gamlestan.
Yes.
Which is where the Imperial Palace was.
Yes.
And we walked around the back of that, saw slightly more formal royal guards.
Yes.
And there's also military there.
That's where it was from the water up to a big statue. It's like a big open parade, almost like a road.
Yeah, but the statue was covered for repairs, I think.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, or they'd remove the statue for repairs.
For restoration, yeah.
Restoration purposes, yes, because Europe in the off-season.
Yes.
They move things.
Yes.
And there was some military kicking around the palace as well, wasn't there?
Yes, there were.
So you had the royal guards in their, decorative uniforms.
Yes.
And then, we walked around the back end the front end of it, and there's a lot of army people around.
There were.
And again, a lot of the palace was under scaffolding. So I remember like a load of blokes came out with all their harness gear on and things like that. Go on.
That's also where, turning that corner, is where we saw those sleepy lion, like, road bollard things. Do you remember? They're stone.
This rings a bell.
They're stone and they're quite big, but they look like sleeping little cute lions.
Oh, and they're just to stop traffic.
Yeah.
Driving down. Yeah, I remember the sleepy lions. Yeah. I can't remember them being. Yeah.
They're quite cute but derpy looking.
Derpy lions. Yeah, and then we just walked around the old town for a bit. And the old town, that's right, that's where those famous buildings are.
Yes, the colourful ones.
Yes, the colourful buildings. And the name of the square is... Stortorget.
Yes, Stortorget.
Stortorget. Probably pronounced completely different to that.
Butchered.
I'd never heard of it before.
No, but I had seen the buildings.
Yes.
In photography things.
They're famous because that's the oldest square in Stockholm. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are interesting looking buildings. They're tall and quite narrow.
Yeah.
And the facades at the top, they're different on each one, and they're each different colours.
Yeah. The colours have faded though, so when we got there, that was like, so all the pictures I've seen have been slightly touched, have they?
Yeah, it turns out professional photographers alter their photos before they...
I don't do that.
No, because you're better than them, aren't you?
Yes, so much, yes.
So much purer. Hashtag no filter.
I genuinely have no filters though. I don't like using them. I like to take an image of what I'm seeing, and if you put a filter on that, that's not what you're seeing.
No.
Well, I was kind of rant for another time.
Yeah. Moving on. I'd never heard of that square before. I'd never seen those buildings before.
No.
So I think that was a bit lost on me, I'm afraid.
That also, the centre of that square, we couldn't see. I think there's a statue there.
Yes.
We couldn't see it because that was also covered in scaffolding and building material.
Which also kind of ruined photos of the square itself.
Yeah.
You wanted wider photos of the square. But then we just walked around the old town. As with most old towns in Europe, that is a tourist hotspot.
Yes.
So plenty of Viking-related tat you can buy on there.
Yes.
Also, that's another thing. Sweden, more so than anywhere in Norway, there were more metalheads out walking around.
That's true.
There's a whole, Swedish death metal is like an institution in itself.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of them walking around, which is nice, more so than anywhere else.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is, Birmingham should be like that, because that's where it started. But it's also full of Brummers, so it's...
Yeah.
I'm from near there, so I can say that, it's fine.
I can't. I'll keep
You
quiet.
Can't, yes. But yeah, we walked past. Unfortunately, it was closed. There was the Viking bar.
Yeah, that would have been quite cool to
where,
go to.
even just you're walking through these old, and they're proper old town cobbled streets.
Quite narrow,
looming buildings.
Yeah.
There's ivy growing on them, and there's outdoor seated cafes and things. And then there's people selling souvenirs and things. And I remember the front was it was like gates. Like straight away, you were like, this is an interesting building.
Yeah, this is cool.
But you had to go down some steps.
Yeah.
That went away from the street, and then there was just a big wooden door, but it was shut. They only open in the evening. It's like, we need to be out of here by time. Otherwise, we've got to pay for the metro again. And we had an early start the next day because we were catching the ferry to Finland.
Oh yes, very early start, wasn't it?
We had to wake up at 5 in the morning, something like that. Maybe earlier than that.
Maybe I think it was earlier than that.
Yeah. And then we just headed back. So we just explored the old town for quite a while. Actually,
we did that. Stockholm's old town is still one of the more interesting ones for me.
Yes.
Because of the narrow old streets, and you can literally it's like, as you say, like any other old town. Everything's interconnected.
Yes.
You've got tight little streets that you turn one corner and okay, I'm back here.
Yeah,
you know,
bit of that,
you just end up looping around yourself. But I could so easily spend so long just walking around there, and Stockholm's one of those places that I'd still like to go back to explore more of.
Yes, I'd like to spend a bit of money as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that was the other thing. There's so many places. As much as I wanted to go in that bar.
Yeah.
Financially, it's probably better if it's closed.
Yeah.
For us. Correct me if I'm wrong, but also once you get off the main quote streets of the old town,
Yeah.
there are a lot of places like woodworking shops where they're selling wooden souvenirs, but the guy is in there making them.
Yes. And also, the old town also has that graffiti alley. Do you remember? You didn't know about it.
The steps.
Yeah, and we accidentally ended up there, and I was like, hang on, I know this. I recognise this.
I remember I was so proud of the shot I had following you down those stairs, and then it wouldn't, because I didn't have a laptop, it wouldn't save.
Yeah.
And it just died.
Yeah.
That was upsetting. I remember that. There's really narrow steps.
Yeah, but that was quite cool.
It's covered in graffiti. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But then we ended up back in the built-up bit, the more modern city.
Mm-hmm.
And we were running out of time. So we got back on the metro. Another fantastic metro station.
Yes.
That was the second time on the way back. That's when we got the old metro trains.
Yes, we did, didn't we?
Because they have more modern metro trains. But then they get ones... Well, I don't think we ever found out how old they were, but they just look like 60s or 70s.
Yeah, because everything's like orange or brown.
Yeah, they've got that aesthetic to them. And everything looks a bit old, but not old, like vintage.
Yes,
vintage.
vintage.
The better word, vintage, yes.
Yes.
So we ended up spending 2 nights parked at the university.
Yeah, which was fine.
Which was fine. I had to pay in the morning. We had no bother. No. Again, all night and all day, there are occasionally groundskeepers sort of just driving around. Someone will just drive around every so often, just checking on things. No one bothered us. They're obviously used to people coming and parking there. As long as you're respectful, you don't leave litter, you don't sit in your camp chairs outside, or hang your washing lines out, which I imagine some people do. As long as you don't do any of that, you're left alone. It was fine. We felt safe there.
Yeah.
And then we got the ferry to Finland
at heinous o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And it was pouring with rain, and we had to fill up.
Yeah. Oh, that also the drive to the ferry.
Yeah.
We were given... Our instructions didn't tell us where the entrance was. So we ended up going to like the main... I was going to say depot, the main building.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, oh, it's up that way and it's this... It wasn't clear that there was an entrance to a port there.
No.
To one of the things, and we went there and... God, whatever else. But the big problem I remember we had was at the traffic lights.
Yes.
Because they stayed on red. We were at the front of the line.
Yeah.
Because it was stupid o'clock in the morning. And we had to wait for so long, and they never changed. And
it was like 3 cycles we were there for.
Yeah. And it must have had something to do with either our headlights, because we have the deflectors on.
Yeah.
Or because we're near the port, maybe it's trying to read our registration plate, and it didn't know. But something... We have a feeling it was because we had a foreign vehicle, something about it, or rather we had a right-hand drive vehicle. I think it must have been that. We weren't setting off the sensors to let them know there was a car there. And it was at night, when it was dark, rather, so we had our headlights on, because you got the deflectors on. Maybe they weren't pointing at whatever sensor they're looking for.
Yeah, maybe.
So, for 3 sides, and then we just had to go on red, which was terrifying.
No, we went straight ahead.
We went on. It was on a red light. We went on red, and then we turned around and came back.
Yeah.
And the traffic was going again from that line.
Yeah.
So it was our vehicle that was holding it up. Turns out we didn't need to go down that way anyway, but it wasn't clearly signed.
That's quite confusing.
So yes, the meat of this topic, the low point.
Oh yes, I'd completely forgotten about that. You know,
the low point of our trip to date. I mean, we're coming up on our 9-month. Anniversary of the trip. Yeah. This was 3 weeks into the trip. It is still the lowest point, I'd say. There's some contenders.
But
it's
up there.
This is certainly up, especially 3 weeks in. This is not what we wanted. So we parked up in Gothenburg. Interestingly about Gothenburg, I mean, this is kind of pointless information. Cause
don't go there.
Don't go to Gothenburg.
Don't do it.
But they do have a low emission zone. But it's not... It doesn't count on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
But you can, like, any vehicle can drive in there Saturdays and Sundays. It was on a Saturday.
It was. I'm just going to say one thing.
Okay.
Gothenburg's emission zone is very, very clearly marked. All the entrances to the emission zone have a overhead barrier.
Yeah. Which
tell you whether or not it's going to cost you.
Yes. Yeah. But Saturdays and Sundays you can ignore them.
You're exempt.
And you can go in. Gothenburg appeared to have just been through a war.
they're rebuilding the entire city.
Yeah, it's like they leveled. It's almost as if they've leveled half the city and they're rebuilding it because so many roads they had diversion signs on. There were building site blockades and barriers everywhere.
Yeah.
There were like little ad hoc roundabouts put in all over the place.
And a perma traffic jam.
Yes, my word, just traffic jams. It was a pain to get around. And because it was Saturday night, we had a lot of trouble finding a space to park.
Yeah.
We eventually found a spot which was out of the way a little bit. It was underneath a huge towering overpass.
Yeah.
We pulled in, we parked up, and it's another one of these. You need to download an app, which unfortunately wasn't the same app.
No.
So to download that, you pay for it. And then off we went. And we weren't too far from the big shopping centre, were we?
No.
So we had a quick look down before we get to that, we parked up. We felt a little bit uneasy about where we were.
Yeah.
So we brought Dargo with us.
Yeah.
And we sort of stashed stuff away as best we could. Well, not as best we could at all. We could have done it a lot better. But, hindsight's a bitch. You can see where this is going. We went out for a walk. We walked down the marina.
Yeah.
Now this was evening again, starting to get dark. We then went through the shopping centre, and I seem to remember all the food places were starting to close. Now this is only like 5 or 6 o'clock.
Everything was
at night.
closing.
Everything was closed. And 6 o'clock at night, and McDonald's was kicking people out.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So we had a quick sort of walk. We had on Google Maps just a few of the little landmarks to go and look at. But just generally, there was an uneasy feeling about the whole place.
Yes.
But we didn't feel safe.
No, not at all.
Or welcome, or comfortable.
No. And that was like the first time on the trip that it felt like that.
And that's one of the only times I felt that.
You're lucky.
Yeah, fair, yeah. There's that white privilege.
There's that white privilege again. But, no, it just... Like, Gothenburg, aesthetically, is quite a nice city.
Yes.
Like, you've got the river. You've got the buildings around the river, and the architecture is really cool. It's really nice.
Yes.
And all of that. The shopping centre is impressive.
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you just felt so uneasy. There were just people loitering around and staring at you and all this kind of stuff. And I know that doesn't bother most people, but after a while of that look, you get used to it and you can pick out what's good and what's bad. And it was definitely bad. And we had because we had the GoPro with us. So we were videoing ourselves walking around, and we were both just like, we don't, like, this city doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
We don't like it. Let's just hurry up.
I was kind of annoying that we lost some videos but not others. Luckily, we managed to salvage this footage. Because we were joking about, we're going to get stabbed.
Yeah.
Or we're going to get robbed.
Like, it was that kind of a feel.
Yeah, we were like, it's like...
For southern British people, it was like walking through Croydon or Brixton on a Saturday night.
That's niche.
Exactly. That's why I said reference. Southern British people.
I'm sure the listeners we have in North America are going to get that reference. Like,
what could be for them? I don't know.
I don't know. We don't know enough about it. It's just yobs.
Yeah.
It was just
yobbos,
ute.
Yeah.
Walking around in groups, sort of eyeing you up all the time. Like, okay, right. We were walking around for about 50 minutes, 50 minutes.
If that. Yeah.
If that. We went back to the van. Sort of didn't realise at first because you're not looking for it, but they had broken the small window on the passenger side. We didn't notice till afterwards that they'd had a go at the lock, the door lock on that side with a screwdriver, and given up, smashed the window, unlocked the door, opened the side door, and they had ransacked the place. Yeah,
completely turned it inside out.
Like all these overhead cupboards we have around the bed, they were all on the bed.
Yeah.
So they had both of our laptops were gone.
Yeah.
Several of our gadgets had gone. We'd lost some battery packs, some little action cameras, my gyroscopic mount thing.
Yeah.
They had what did they take of you? You had the most like emotional and practical losses, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. For me, they'd taken a little pouch thing, which was hidden at the back of the wardrobe. So this is how far they got.
Yeah,
how deep they got in.
Yeah.
It was at the back of the wardrobe, and that had like all my different currencies that I'd collected, which I was just like, oh, might get to use them or add to it or whatever. But that also had jewelry and stuff in it.
Yep.
But my clothes, like,
yeah,
95% of the clothes that I'd brought with me, and I'd only brought enough for about 3-4 weeks worth.
Yeah.
At a time. They were all gone.
Yeah.
A bag of lady products, shall we say, was ransacked and just emptied all over the bed, which is hella embarrassing for any photos that you want to give to the police.
Yeah.
So just ignore what's on the front, please.
Yeah.
But
you had a bag of stuff like notebooks.
Yes.
And stuff at the front.
Yes. So I'd been keeping like a little tiny diary of every single day where we'd stopped, where we'd gone, what we'd done.
Yep.
They took that, and that
wasn't even just this trip, was it? It was other trips you'd been on.
Yeah, that was my travel journal, basically. They took that. There was that, and the pen that I used to write that with were both presents from people. More importantly, they took our LPG adapters as well.
Yes, we had. Obviously, coming from the UK and going around Europe, different countries have different LPG sockets. So we bought these brass adapters. They had those.
Yeah. So luckily, as we were saying, we filled up like the day before.
Yeah, we just filled up on gas.
Yeah, one of our concerns afterwards was how long is this gas going to last us till like we can get new adapters? Where do we get new adapters from?
Yeah.
That was one of the big things, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else there was. There was such a long list of things.
Yeah. I remember I got lucky with, they didn't steal my trousers.
Yeah, they left your trousers.
I kept my trousers, but they stole all of my t-shirts. Basically, any clothes that weren't in the wash.
The laundry bag.
We have a laundry bag in one of the cupboards. They didn't steal, so I had like a couple of t-shirts left.
Yeah.
But I've got t-shirts I bought when I was in America. I've got t-shirts from my mate's band. They don't make those t-shirts anymore.
Yeah.
They luckily though they left the one box we had that had hard drives in.
We'd stashed that though, hadn't we? We'd stashed that.
Yeah, we used to put that somewhere else.
Yeah.
They hadn't gone up there. So I had this little thing. It's like a battery pack, charger pack, and you can transfer things from an SD card onto a hard drive. Unfortunately, though, that wasn't, as we found out, the reason we lost a lot of footage that I could still record, because I still had the cameras I had on me. For some reason, that device didn't work properly. Yeah. So while we did manage to keep the footage from Gothenburg, and we got a little bit from Norway, and a little bit from Sweden, we lost other stuff from Sweden. We lost from Finland up until we got the new stuff.
Yeah. But even up until that point, we lost stuff from Amsterdam onwards?
I hadn't backed up anything onto my hard drives.
Yeah.
So we still had the hard drive, so I lost all the footage.
Yeah.
From the start of the trip. Now look, I've made a few videos, so that survives on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I kept everything. The full videos, all the driving videos, dash cam footage, I kept that a lot.
Yeah.
That is all gone forever.
I know.
Yeah.
They took my really fancy laptop bag.
Yeah.
That was a present from my aunt.
Well, we both bought laptops for this trip. And they were gone. So anyway, they lost, and it's sometimes it took like a couple of months until you're like, have you seen this thing? Like,
no, I'm still doing that now.
So you're still doing it now. You're still thinking, oh well, it must have been stolen.
It's like the other day I saw that picture that popped up on Facebook, and I was like, crap, where's that necklace gone? Stolen. So anyway, this is about, I can't remember what it was, late at night. Well, maybe about 7 o'clock, maybe something like that. What, when it happened?
When we got back.
When we got back, it was 6:20.
6:20, there you go. So we phoned 112. You're supposed to phone when when you're abroad.
Yeah.
And they put me through to a guy. I said, look, we've just been broken into, and he asked me where we were. Luckily, I had the app.
Yeah.
With the receipt on the app, and he said, yeah, you need to go to a police station and report these. I'm really sorry this has happened to you. You need to go to a police station and report it. I said, okay, where is one? And he said, I'll text you through the address to the nearest one. I was like, okay, thank you very much. I think he actually sent me through on WhatsApp, just a button, the Google Maps thing.
Yeah.
Just pressed it, opened up the sat nav. Luckily, the van had not been mechanically damaged.
Yeah.
The only damage to the van was the little window. So we drove round to the police station, spent about 2 hours in there, going through everything. And we're like, well, we haven't had a proper look yet.
Yeah.
And they just want a list of everything that's been in. Of course, Dargo's still in the bag. We can't leave her in the van now because there's broken glass and there's a window she can jump out of.
Yeah.
So Dargo, I mean, to be fair, Dargo, once you get her in a quiet room, she'll just sit and go to sleep.
She'll just sit.
Yeah.
She's an angel.
She is. And it's, well, like we said at the time, it's just damn lucky we took her with us.
Yeah.
Else she'd have just bolted.
Yep.
Or they'd have taken her.
And God knows.
God knows. Small mercies. Oh, they also had your driving licence as well, didn't they?
My driving licence, my credit card.
Yeah. That will come into play when we do the Spain episode. So we sit there, we go through everything, and they didn't even... I've sort of realised that reporting a theft, really the only point of that is to satisfy your insurance.
Yeah. They're
not going to catch the guys.
No. I mean, we gave them ample evidence.
Yeah, we later found out a lot of evidence. You eventually found out that shortly after it happened, there was a time the time we were walking around, it had been used at a car wash.
Yeah, my credit card. I got because obviously with online banking you can look at everything, and I looked at it, and my credit card had been used about 15 minutes after we left the van.
Yeah.
At a car wash, and I found out exactly which car wash it was because I looked at it on Street View.
Yeah.
5 times within the space of about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
For 200 kroner each time.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, my bank was then saying that no, it was you who used it, and we don't believe that you didn't. And I was like, excuse you, why am I going to wash my car 5 times in 2 minutes? What is wrong with you? But we gave all of that to the police, so whether or not something happened, we have no idea.
Yeah, but you're never going to get your
Maybe we could call the Swedish, like, not the emergency line, but like the non-emergency line, one day and be like, what happened with case blah blah blah?
I doubt that will result in anything. You're certainly not going to get your dresses back.
I know. My pizzazz dress.
Anyway, so we went in, we got all that done. You get given a police report number. Yeah. That's to give to your insurance. And we were just like, okay, there you go, that's it. Good luck with your life. Sorry this happened to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we found a place to park, which is next to a lake. Although we didn't realise it was next to a lake, actually. We just found a car park. We just wanted to get out into the middle of nowhere where we could park and not
be safe.
And just be safe.
Yeah. And
it was next to Lake, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong because it's got a J in it and it's Scandinavian. Surtesjon, I'm going to say. Funny enough, near a town called Angerd, which suited us. But on the way, we stopped at the Max.
We did.
Dinner. We'll talk to the Max in a minute. We'll end on a positive note.
We'll get to the Max.
Because this is on a Saturday night. Now, Europe, by and large, shuts down on Sundays.
Yeah.
Garages just... I mean, petrol stations are open, but garage, like mechanic places, aren't open on Sundays.
No.
The insurance, I don't think... Our travel insurance weren't available on a Sunday.
No, I don't think so.
So we just had a day where we could do nothing.
Yeah.
And we just sat in this grey, misty car park, just watching Avatar: The Last Airbender and drinking tea, and just
being paranoid of everyone.
Every noise, and just we put a bit of cling film and duct tape around the window.
Yeah.
Tried to get some of the glass out. Just trying to make it safe for Dargo mainly.
Yeah.
And we just sat and had a depressed day. Talked about going home. but we couldn't go home because we needed to fix the window.
Yes.
Yeah, you take it a step at a time. Luckily, on Monday, near where we'd stopped for fast food, was a window place. They do windows for anything and everything.
Yeah.
Anything you can put glass in to see through it, they'll do it.
They'll do it.
So we went there. We did have to wait a bit. She's like, oh, he's out at the moment, but you can come in and you can do it. I think she quoted us for a glass replacement or perspex, and it was €125
for the perspex.
For the perspex,
because we'd have had to wait for the glass replacement to come in from Stockholm.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And we were like, no, we can't wait for that.
Yeah. So, yeah, we just got that done. It took maybe about 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
So we went back and had another fast food place.
Yes.
Went in and, you know, he's just fit a perspex window in the play with the. It's not sealed in properly. It's just been done up with tape.
Yeah.
But it did the trick. He says, "Oh, this will be enough till you get home." I thought, we're not going home. Not yet. But speaking to people since, it's interesting they say that stuff is harder to break than glass.
Yeah.
And now, because we've had to tape it up, if anyone approaches the van to maybe try and break it in, we've got clearly a window that's been broken in, and clearly that lock, someone's already had a go at it. So maybe someone will think, oh, they've already been nicked.
Yeah.
We'll move on. But that guy was saying, interestingly, that he knew a woman who went travelling all around the place, all around the world in her motorhome.
Yeah.
And she had no trouble at all until she got back to Sweden, and she got broken into.
Yeah.
She just popped down to the shops or something and got broken into. We then saw another video on YouTube about a guy.
Recently,
it was a Swedish guy, wasn't he? He just got back to Sweden, and he's parked up, and some bloke's just hanging around his van.
Yeah.
Staring at it.
Yeah. And he put a glove on his windscreen.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And yeah, he was just like, I wonder if that's what they do. They put a glove there, and then after a little while, if the glove's gone, then there's somebody in the van.
Yeah, they know there's someone in the van. Yeah.
If not, then they can break into it. Which is really scary.
That is scary, yeah. Again, the guy was saying, yeah, it's Sweden. It's the Swedish guy saying it's Sweden.
Yeah.
And even, was it the director of Volvo?
It's just Gothenburg.
Well, yeah. And was it the director of Volvo?
Yes.
Because they're around Gothenburg.
He was quite upset that Volvo wasn't attracting the same level of talent. Because Gothenburg is just so unsafe. And people are leaving Volvo because they don't want to be unsafe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of sad.
But it's hilarious. Like, well, not hilarious, but like when we told people like, oh, we've been robbed. Like, oh, where? Sweden? Like, what? Sweden?
What? How?
What? So you got to go to Russia yet? Oh God! Don't even
yes,
think
I
about
know.
Yeah. But then it turns out people who've been to Sweden, that's what happens. You get robbed in Sweden.
Yeah.
Like,
just Gothenburg.
Well, mainly Gothenburg, yeah. I say we had no problems in Stockholm.
Nope.
There's plenty of nice places. Other than that, they're quite accommodating to motorhomes.
Yeah.
Plenty of nice places you can go out in the sticks. Just don't go to Gothenburg.
Just don't go to Gothenburg.
Luckily, we had travel insurance. We did get through to them. I remember you were doing it on the phone.
On the way to Norway.
On the way to Norway, yeah. Running away.
Yeah.
Although it did take 3 months.
Yeah.
So this was on the 19th of October it happened, and it was on the 17th of January or something, and you had to chase them up a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, they wanted receipts for all your purchases. It's like, well, this is a T-shirt I bought 5 years ago in another country. I don't have the receipt.
Yeah.
But we got a significant amount of money back to make replacements with. And luckily, we had already arranged, we were meeting friends in Finland who were coming from the UK.
Yeah.
They very graciously allowed us to send stuff to them, and then they brought it out with them.
Yeah.
So we got new laptops, we got replacements for everything we needed. Yeah. We were very grateful to them for that.
Yeah.
Except for clothes, which we've been sort of getting here and there as we go.
It took me 8 months to get another dress, Benjamin.
Yes,
8 months.
We gradually replaced it all. But yeah, so we've been robbed in a foreign country. You just go to the police. Just make sure you've got travel insurance.
Just have travel insurance.
And it may take a while, but we recovered. Although the travel insurance, they really don't. It's really not made for people in motorhomes.
No.
So they always ask you, well, did you leave your room? It's like we live in the van. Like,
yeah.
What would you mean? Like, oh God. But yeah, we eventually got the money for it, so it does work, even if it took a while.
One thing I will say is that get a safe for your van.
Yes.
Does not have to be a large one. Ours that's the words. Ours is not a big one.
No.
It's tethered.
It's tethered.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
tethered to the van, which is important.
Yeah. Don't have a safe that someone can steal.
Yeah. Have a safe, have it tethered, don't leave it out in sight.
Yeah.
And keep your important documents in there.
Yeah.
And money as well, because travel insurance does not cover money that is not in a safe.
Yeah. We had a little bit of money left out, didn't we, in a cupboard?
Yeah.
They had that. Yeah. But to end on a positive.
Yes.
Yes.
Me going on about how I'm not a fast food person.
I know, right. Sweden, Maine, I think they're in other countries.
I haven't seen them anywhere
I can't
else.
remember.
No, it's just Sweden.
Definitely in Sweden. It's called Max.
Yes.
And my word, are they good.
They're amazing.
We found one because we stopped for petrol before we got robbed. And there was either a McDonald's or this other place called Max.
Yeah.
And they just had pictures of burgers all up. And they were a little bit cheaper than McDonald's.
Yeah.
We thought, oh, we'll go and have a look. Yeah, go Mac, my word. Like, they've just, like, if you like your spicy stuff.
Yeah.
What was it, the habanero chili cheese bites?
Yeah.
My mouth's just
bites.
filled with water. And they just the variety of just the burgers and the different, do you want chips? Yes, please. Well, do you want them curly? Do you want them spicy? Do you want them, what? You want a really nice milkshake? What flavour milkshake? So, you got a McDonald's, you got strawberry, banana, what about blueberry?
We had blueberry ones,
milkshakes.
didn't we?
What about this? What about, oh my good God. And yeah, we went to the Max so many times.
Well, after the robbery, it kind of became comfort food, didn't it?
It was comfort, because we went beforehand, well, this is nice. And then on the way to the lake, after we got robbed,
yeah,
we were like, let's just get a burger and just chill.
Yeah.
And then the following Monday, we had to wait for the window to be done. So like, well, we'll go to the Max. We'll go to Max again. We'll get it eaten. And I think on the way back through Sweden, we stopped again.
Yeah.
I'd
go back just for Max. If
it was so good. Such a good restaurant.
Just send me the habanero chili bites, please.
Yeah. So that was, something. So Sweden, very up and down.
Yeah.
Sweden's
an amazing country, like landscape-wise. Definitely go there.
Yes, Stockholm's a fantastic city.
Amazing city. Malmo's good too. There's so many other cities that we didn't do.
Yes.
But just don't go to Gothenburg. That's a takeaway from this, really.
Yeah, and it really reinforces that whatever trip you go on, take travel insurance.
Yeah.
Get some sort of, theft or property loss insurance. Yeah. So I think that's it for Sweden.
I think so.
Yeah. So that is it for Sweden. Thank you very much for listening, especially if you made it this far. Please do leave a rating or review on whatever platform you listen to these podcasts on. It really helps us with algorithms, so I'm told. Helps spread the word around that we exist.
The good word.
Little note, if you have been listening with a podcast service, every episode is also available on YouTube, along with video diaries of our ongoing journey. Just not a lot of Sweden or Scandinavia, unfortunately, because of the Netherlands, or that early part of Germany, because it all got lost on the laptops.
But the rest of it is on there.
The rest of it is on there. All the happier times are on there.
Yes.
Along with these podcasts as well. Just search for Catavan or Catavan UK, because we don't have enough subscribers for a personalised URL yet. Likewise, if you are already listening to these on YouTube, you can also find us on any podcast service you care to name.
Yep.
Just search for CatavanCast, you'll find us. Podcasts are released every Wednesday, and the video diaries go out every Sunday. Mm-hmm. Please do get in touch with us about any mistakes we've made, anything we missed, or any further questions you might have about this or any other episode we've touched on. You can leave us a comment on YouTube, or you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where, what did you search for?
We are Catavan UK.
At Catavan UK. You can also email us directly at catavanuk@gmail.com. This is where you take over, because finally we have a Redbubble store.
We do have a Redbubble store, and more items / designs are going on there fairly frequently, really.
There's a range of products available.
There are tons of products available on there. Anything from duvet covers to shower curtains to pillows to posters to mugs.
Face masks.
Face masks, which
Social
are very
distancing.
appropriate now.
And they're all from photos you've taken on this journey.
Yes, and if you see anything on Instagram or Facebook that I've posted and you're thinking, ooh, I'd like that in my bedroom, please, let me know and I'll put it on Redbubble.
Yeah. And that's it for this week. We'll be back next week where we'll be covering Norway.
Yes.
Which was all too brief a visit.
It was.
Have to go back to Norway.
But it was still an excellent visit.
It's an excellent visit. So if you have any questions about travelling there, please do get in touch with us. If we don't get your question before we record it, we'll answer it on the following podcast. So please do get in touch with anything about that.
Yes.
I've been Ben.
I've been Frey. Dargo's still asleep on the front seat. She's not bothered us this episode.
She hasn't. People are going to start thinking we don't really have a cat.
We don't really have a cat.
She is on YouTube though, so check that out.
There's proof, I swear.
So that's it, and we'll see you next time.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.